Well, we're sitting around talking about herbs today, drinking our Roselle tea.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Cheers.
And we got somebody special in the house. We got Miss Tracy here from Just Dig It Farms, which is our herb specialist. We lean on her a lot for information and help us. Herbs to us is kind of a new thing that we've got intrigued into and been going down that line, and it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Miss Tracy here. Tracy, tell us how you become, because you inspired us to get started in herbs. How did you get inspired?
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, my garden journey began with the herbs, right? So I didn't grow up gardening, farming, nothing. And when we bought our first little house, we had these two neighbors on each side of us, two older gentlemen, and they were both gardeners. We were barely moved into our house, and I had vegetables on my porch. Didn't even know what to do with them, like rutabagas. I don't know what a rutabaga is. So I spent a lot of time with them in the garden. And one of the older men, Mr. Williams, he had this garlic patch and this mint patch, and I was hooked. So Gene traveled out of town, and he found me this little nursery that was in Loxley, Alabama, called Good Sense. And it was two old, well, they weren't old, just two hippies from the 60s. And they were legit hippies. And every time he would travel down that way, I'd go with him. The boys would go with us. And we'd stop in there, and I'd talk to them, learn all I could from them, as long as my family would tolerate me being there. And I just learned a whole lot from them, and I just got like so into it. And I was captivated. The love affair began once you start smelling them and learning about them and how the history of them and all that. So for my birthday that year, he gave me $100 and built me 2 raised beds, and that was it. Here we go. From there, it just traveled.
You know, most of our modern day medicines are derived from some type of plant.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so it is interesting how far we've come.
Mm-hmm.
So we're adding a herb line, and this is going to be something that's going to be ongoing in the next few months. We hope to have everything up and going by January 1st. And we want to go through a few of those today, because not only is it interested to grow them, but what do you do with them after you grow them?
Yeah.
How do you use them?
Yeah, and that's the main thing, is what we're trying to learn all that, because the growing of them is easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do with it?
Yeah, and there's so many things you need to know, like what parts of the plant can you use, what parts is safe, what parts edible, what you can do with those different parts of the plants. There's a lot to dive in to learn about it. They're super fun.
Yeah. So we've got 10. We're going to rapid fire today.
Okay.
We're going to shoot
All
through these 10 here, and you're going to give us some insights on how you would use
Okay.
these particular herbs. First one's calendula.
I feel like I'm on a game show.
You're on a game show.
Calendula.
Where's the buzzer?
Okay, I brought some calendula
Yep.
that I dried. Isn't that pretty?
It is.
So pretty.
So calendula is it's mostly used for skin issues because it's antimicrobial, antifungal. Yeah, I know it's a little
strong here.
It's a little strong, but it's antiseptic. I mean, it's really good for skin issues, wounds, all kinds of eczema. Yeah, all kinds of issues like that with your skin. And the cool thing about this plant is when you know how when you pick the flower and it's sticky, your fingers are sticky. That sticky resin that's on the back of it there, that's where your medicine is. That's
the first time I did it, I just picked the yellow petals off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched 4 Kids in a Farm.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, no, you gotta get the green
Yeah,
sticky stuff. That's where the good stuff is.
That's where your medicine is there. So what a lot of people do with the calendula is make like a salve out of it. And I make a gardener salve out of it. You made some salve out of it. But it's really, really good for that cracks, skin issues, stuff like that. But you can also eat the petals. So you can put it in soups, you can put it in salads, you can, you can eat the petals. Got a lot of good medicinal. It's got a little difference to it, but
And the great thing about it, it works well in the slots where you don't have anything that's growing. So it's basically a cool weather, not a winter time, but a cool weather plant. So it grows great in the fall and great in early spring. Fills in that gap. Beautiful flowers.
yeah, and it's a good companion for your garden because the pollinators love it and beneficials love calendula.
Holy basil.
Holy basil, Tulsi, is what a lot of people know it by. That is actually one of the most highly esteemed and used herbs in Ayurvedic medicine. So like it's almost worshipped in India. It's like a really high medicinal herb, and it's an adaptogen. So what that means is like it's really good for stress. It's good for anxiety.
I need me a cup full of that.
I know we need a cup of that. It's really good for that, and it's an adaptogen. So like it's good for thyroid issues like that. Because like if you have hyperthyroidism, and if you have overactive or underactive, it kind of adapts to what you have, and it helps to heal that.
It may help you focus.
Yeah, it helps focus.
Oh.
So a cool thing is like I don't have holy basil here, but holy basil, lavender, and chamomile, all three are really good for stress and anxiety. So that would make a delicious tea. That would be a really good tea.
Roselle.
Roselle.
One of our favorites.
Yep, Roselle and is hibiscus in the mallow family. We discovered this one I love the little dried calyx of it. We discovered this when we were in Guatemala. They made us a drink out of it, called it Rosa de Jamaica. They made ours more like a Kool-Aid, a refreshing drink. This is really good. It's hot tea. Roselle is super high in vitamin C. So like it's just a really good drink for colds, flus, things like that. Antioxidant, super high in antioxidants. Vitamin C, it's a good anti-inflammatory. So it's got a lot of really good properties. And mostly you just make the tea or wine.
Yeah.
You can make wine, jam. I've heard of people making like cranberry salad or whatever out of it for Thanksgiving because it kind of has a little, if you think about it, has a little bit of a cranberry flavor
And you
to
can
it.
eat the leaves too.
Yeah, and they say that the leaves, have you had a leaf? I haven't really eaten a leaf, but they say it tastes like a spicy cranberry type spinach. We should go eat some of your leaves.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's do that. That's for dinner.
Mullein.
Mullei's a very cool plant. I've got some mullein blooms and I've got some mullein leaves right here. And this is one that we find a lot like in our ditches or on the sides of the road. You'll see them. It can be it's a biennial. So in the early stages of it, it could be confused with lamb's ear because it has that woolly foliage on it, which is...
Smells like tobacco to me. No, that's my smell.
Tobacco. But it shoots up this huge stalk with yellow blooms all the way down the stalk. And
You know.
once you see it, you'll know that you see it all the time. It's not native for us. It was brought over here, originated from Europe, but it adapts and it's just spread everywhere. So mullein is a respiratory herb. It's for your lungs, for your bronchitis, bronchial tubes, coughs, expectorant. It clears your lungs of mucus. The little hairy texture on the leaf is mucilaginous. I usually have a hard time spitting that word out, but it's mucilaginous, so that's what helps with those mucous membranes. So you can take your leaf and roll it out and smoke it, and that smoke, you're inhaling it, getting into your lungs, and that helps to clean your lungs. Or you can drink it as a tea. You can make a poultice out of this, and it heals scrapes and wounds and cuts on your arm or whatever. You can take that and soak it in water, apple cider vinegar, or you can spit on it and put it on your wound, and it helps to heal that.
Peppermint. The mint road. Go down the mint road, you can veer off a lot of different places because there's a lot of mints out there. We're going to talk about peppermint.
Peppermint is really good. Peppermint's probably considered the one that has the most medicinal use to it.
Really?
Yeah, peppermint is. Because you can, well, there's a lot of things in the mint family though. You probably really can't say that. I mean, bee balm's in the mint family. You know, there's a lot of things. But as far as mints like that, peppermint is really popular for it. And it's really good for nausea. It's good for headaches. It's good for, it's good for calming. It's good for digestion. All of those issues. And peppermint is a base for most of your herbal teas and things because it gives it that nice little minty flavor. But if you just smell peppermint, you know, aromatherapy, if you just smell it, it helps to relieve headaches and helps with that nausea. So I have an inner ear disease. And so I fight with the nausea and being off balance and stuff a lot. I carry peppermint with me and I can just smell it and it helps with the nausea and, you know, helps kind of get me in balance a little bit there.
Interesting.
Chamomile. So chamomile is a really sweet little herb. I've got some blooms here. When it's in the garden growing, it smells like apple blossoms blooming and it's just such a sweet fragrance. But it's a powerful little plant, super powerful. It's good for fevers, it's good for pain, it's good for relaxing, of course. Everybody knows sleepy time tea with chamomile. So it's really good for stress, anxiety, depression, and it helps you to sleep. So the best way to use it is just to harvest the little blooms, dry them, and make a tea out of them.
So if you look at any sleeping tea, it's always got that in there.
Chamomile pretty much
It's
always has that in there. Chamomile, mint, and lavender. Yeah.
Broadleaf sage.
Broadleaf sage. So sage, this sage, which is a Salvia officinalis, which is your broadleaf, it's your culinary sage that we all mostly just use with our turkey and dressing and stuff like that, right?
Sausage.
Yeah, sausage. But it has some high medicinal properties to it. So it's really good for headaches. You make a tea out of this. It's good for colds, flus, headaches. It's good for female issues, mostly like motherhood issues. This is not one you want to take if you're pregnant and make a tea out of it if you're pregnant, but it's good if you're nursing. And you can also take this and make a poultice out of it when you're nursing, you know, to put on you and relieve that pressure and stuff like that. But it's kind of a grounding herb. Like if you have a lot of anxiety or you have a lot of your mind is always going.
If you're always jacked up.
If you're always jacked up and your mind's here and here and here and here and here, this just kind of focuses you. This is a good one for tea to focus you in.
And my favorite that I've been growing this year is Yarrow.
Oh yeah, I love Yarrow.
Comes in different colors. So I've got
All
the white,
different
but it comes in some different pretty colors. Is there a difference in the colors and their medicinal benefits?
There is. Usually the white one, the white blooms, is your highest medicinal properties. But there are some, like Cerise Queen and some of those pretty pink color, pastel colors. As long as they are in the millefolium family, they're going to have your higher medicinal properties. Yarrow is awesome. I mean, the benefits of this one goes on and on and on. I've got some yarrow here. You can tell I've used it quite a bit. But you can make a tea out of it. But the really cool thing about this, it stops bleeding like that. It's styptic. So
Do you put it on your cut?
you put it on your cut. You take your yarrow, and now you can just get it straight from the garden fresh, macerate it. And usually whenever you're using herbs, try to macerate them. Crush them up.
Release those oils.
Releases those oils in them. But you take it, you put it in water, spit on it, whatever you want to do. Put it on that wound. Immediately stops the bleeding. In fact, it was used a lot in the Civil War. It was called the wound heal plant, and they used it a lot to stop bleeding when the Civil War was going on for the soldiers.
A lot of history behind that.
A lot of history behind this one. Comfrey is a really great herb in so many different aspects. So this one is called the knit bone herb because they say it can heal broken bones. I've never had to try that, thank God, but they say it can heal broken bones. You know, that might be cool for your foot. You can take it and make you a poultice out of it and put on your foot. It's not something that's going to happen one day. It's something you got to continually do. but it's got all kinds of great benefits for that. It's not really suggested that you take it internally. You can, but like you got to be careful with that. It's more of an external. But for the garden, it makes excellent compost tea.
Yeah.
Because it is a biodynamic accumulator, makes that deep taproot, mines up those minerals and everything into the leaf, and then you use the leaf to make your compost tea, or to chop it and drop it, and I put it around my fruit trees just to help put nutrients. It's like a fertilizer plant.
Bee balm.
Bee balm, Monarda, bee balm. It is in the mint family. It's super cool flower, very, very pretty. Great for the garden, for beneficials for bees. If you get stung by a bee, you can take the leaf and put it on there and rub it, and it takes the sting out, and that's where it gets its name, bee balm, because it immediately relieves the sting. It was used, a little history on that, when the Boston Tea Party took place, and tea wasn't being imported, right? So they made Oswego tea from the bee balm, and they got that from the Indians. The Indians made their tea from bee balm, and it was called Oswego tea, and that's why sometimes you'll see where bee balm is called Oswego, because that's like, just a
Slang term.
yeah.
Okay.
So the one that I want to talk about in just a minute is lemon drop that I found a couple of weeks ago. And
Yeah.
I know that y'all know all about it, but we found it at a trial garden, and we tasted it because it said it was good for toothache, and it made our mouth just tingle and numb, and it was interesting. So I immediately sent a text back home. We got to carry this one.
Yeah.
Beautiful in the herb garden. It's bright little flowers on there, but has very unusual effects on the mouth.
Yeah, causes you to salivate,
Yep.
and it feels like 9-volt battery to your tongue or something.
Yeah.
It's also called electric daisy because of that, but it's called toothache plant. There's so many different names for this, but it is a very good pain reliever. It's good for fevers. It's good for ulcers, and it's also antimicrobial. So, you might be putting it on there for pain, but it's also kind of cleaning that and healing that at the same time, whatever's going on in your mouth issues.
So if we had to recommend one book for somebody beginning in herb gardening, which would it be?
Definitely Rosemary Gladstar. Anything
You have
by,
one there?
I got a couple of them here. Anything by Rosemary Gladstar. If you're a beginner in herbalism or any kind of herb use at all, this one is it. This is Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, a Beginner's Guide. It's not too in-depth, but it's enough to teach you a little bit and just to help educate you on a lot of the most common herbs. This one's really good for a lot of recipes for different healing and ailments. Like if you have an ailment, you can look it up and she'll give you recipes of different herbs to help you.
No.
So many good herb books out there.
Well, thank you. We got a lot of great things coming in the next few months as far as adding these herbs to our product line, but not on that, a lot of good content on how to use them. And Tracy's going to be a part of that, and we're so glad to have her on our team. So keep your eyes out. Great things coming.